speaking, the more it hurts your family. So what I'm doing, Mike, is I am looking for all of the reasons this person needs to come work with me. Whether you like finance or not, whether you like Primerica or not, that genuinely does not concern me. But here's the reality. Gas goes up, it affects your entire life. Are you comfortable with that reality? Right? Milk goes up 50 cents, you can't stop talking about it. Okay, your rent goes up 50 or $100, you almost lose your home. See, are you okay with that being the case? Because see, if your job was offering you a raise every week, you wouldn't be tripping, right? If you could just increase your income whenever you wanted to, wouldn't be a big deal. But the problem is you're already working as much as the job allows you. Listen to that. You're already working as much as the job allows you, and you're only making the max they allow you. So the reality of the situation is that you are going to lose if you do not find some type of way to increase your income. Right now at your job, are you allowed to do that? When gas went up, could you go to your boss and say, hey, look, gas is going up 50%. I need a 50% raise. Do you have the freedom and the flexibility to do that? You don't. Okay, well then what's the plan? You can complain or you can find something else to do. What do you want to do? See, it's these type of conversations on appointments that make recruiting a lot more simple than it needs to be. They don't even need to know what Primerica is, Jay. They may not like Primerica. You know how many people we've recruited that had something negative happen to them about Primerica? Now, it wasn't, you guys know there's not a whole lot negative about Primerica other than people being ridiculous. But, and I'm talking about maybe a new agent or maybe somebody was a rookie, didn't really do a good job, but there's not really much negative you can say about our business. But we recruited people who looked at Primerica before, but they were like, I just didn't want to do that. I was like, yeah, but how's struggling? How's paycheck to paycheck? You prefer that? Like, that's better, right? So that's a thing. Let's say we start closing and we get into the IBA, Mike. We get through that conversation. We get through a presentation. Now it's time to get started. And let's say the most common thing is what? They don't have the 124, right? Okay, fair enough. I always say, now listen, Jay, how long you been working? I've been working 8 years. Okay, so that's 8 years. As a teacher, you get paid once a month. All right, so 8 times 12 is what? You got 60 is 5 plus another 36. So what's that, 86? So you've been working, you've gotten 86 paychecks over the last 8 years. And Jay, is it not uncomfortable that you don't, 96, thank you, Ms. Vita. So you've gotten 96 paychecks over the last 8 years. And you have not been able to set aside $124. Jay, that's 96 checks, and we don't have $100 to show for it. Jay, listen, I get it. Life is tough. I get, kids are a real thing. They like to, eat and, live and, toys and Roblox. It's freaking Roblox. It's unbelievable. These kids and it's Roblox, right? Let me take your real money so I can get some virtual money. It's like, what? Right? But so 96 paychecks at $2,000 and $3,000 a piece. And you have not set aside $124 so that way you can take advantage of an opportunity. Jay, let me ask you something, man. Do you like the way that makes you feel?
No, I don't.
If that's the case, we have to make some changes. Would you agree?
I agree.
There you go. See, I tell the team this all the time, Jay. I'm not as interested in the money as I am in the heart of the person. You get the heart of the person, they'll find the money. We got to do a scholarship plan, do your fast start plan to get you in the field, get on some KTs. I'll set up a bonus program for you. We'll do whatever we got to do. But if I got a person that's committed to taking me into a warm market and taking me on appointments, this is something that I want to do. I prefer that more than the 124 anyway. We'll figure that out as we go, right? But I need this person. See, because it really doesn't make any sense, right, Jay? People are getting checks every week, every 2 weeks, every month, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years. And we haven't set aside $1 or $2 every paycheck to have an extra $100. And we see no problem with this. That is ridiculous. That is insane, right? But that's the way it is, which is why the opportunity right now is more important than it's ever been. And then I'll hit on life real quick, and then I'll pass it back because I know we got some amazing vice presidents going to teach us this morning. But then also too, let's look at the life conversation. The life conversation is just as important. we're dealing with clients all the time right now. We're starting to explode in our organization. A lot of new licensed agents getting out there and helping families, which I'm fired up about. My man, Trey, he keeps closing sales at like 11:25 at night, trying to figure out what he's doing all day. I don't know what he's doing in a day, Jay, but he keeps closing sales at night. So I'm fired up about that. But let's say I'm talking to a client about life insurance, Mr. and Mrs. Client. One of the reasons that you guys are working so hard, or one of the reasons that, y'all go to work, you guys do what y'all need to do for y'all's family, is to create a better future for y'all's kids, right or wrong? Well, of course. Okay. Well, the one thing that we have on our side is time. As long as you're alive, as long as you can plan and can save, your family will probably be okay in the next 30, 40, 50 years. The one problem, though, is that there is no guarantee that you're going to wake up tomorrow. So if you stay alive, we can do a lot of great things, but there's no guarantee that you guys are going to make it tomorrow. So if you die tomorrow, does the desire to have a good legacy left for your children go away, or does that desire still exist? Well, it still exists. Exactly. The way that you guarantee that legacy is left for your family is through life insurance. So if you live 20, 30, 40 years, you can leave them everything you've built. If you leave tomorrow, right now we have nothing. Let's plan as if we were leaving tomorrow, and then let's also plan as if we're going to be here 30, 40 years. Let's plan for both. Mr. and Mrs. Client, if we can come up with a plan that makes sense, that fits y'all's budget, that guarantees that legacy of the family is going to be secured, would y'all have any reason moving forward with any of the recommendations I made? Any problems? Okay, great. Let's go through some numbers and let's see what's going on, right? See, all of these different questions. Now, there are tons of questions you can ask. I don't have the time to go through, all of them, but those are the type of questions that you need to ask in order to start helping your clients move towards decisions. If I tell you you need life insurance, it might not make sense. What if I'm sitting with a 22-year-old that has no kids, who is responsible, but just never thought about life insurance? I would say, hey, one day, do you plan on having a family one day? Do you plan on having kids one day? Well, of course. What do you think? In your 30s, 35s, 40s, 45s, 50s, when do you plan on having a family? Well, probably in my 30s. And then when you have a family, it makes sense to get life insurance, doesn't it? Of course. Well, if you're going to get life insurance in your 30s, 40s, why does it make sense to pay more for something you're going to need anyway? If you can get it for pennies on the dollar now, doesn't that make way more sense than paying more in the future? Let's say it's $30 or $40. I always say also, would you miss $4 a week, $5 a week? You really would miss that? How much is your average vanilla latte? $6? Right? So if the average vanilla latte is $6, Raising Cane's box combo is 11. It's 11, Mo. It went up. It used to be like $9.60. It's like $11.35 right now. I said, what? So anyway, so a box combo a week is your future family's legacy. You telling me a box combo is really more significant than a life insurance policy to secure wealth? We really talking about that? Like, what are we talking about? Right? Last thing, and then I'm passing the mic. Last thing. Tinder's still the same. Tinder's actually smaller, Kyler. They smaller. And they toes falling off sometimes too. So I don't know. So anyway, so then there's this. Another different clothes. I've talked to several clients who are like, hey, yeah, I don't really need life insurance forever. I don't need life insurance because I'm actually going to be wealthy one day. So I don't really need life insurance because I'm going to leave behind wealth to my family. I said, I love that. I said, you probably will be wealthy, especially if you're thinking about it. I say, let me ask you something real fast, though. How much wealth do you think you're going to accumulate? Oh, I'll at least 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, 7, 8, 9, 10 million. I would say that's a lot of money. I always say the crazy thing about wealth is that wealthy people pay something poor people don't. It's called estate taxes. If you try to leave behind a sum of money like $10 million, the state, depending on the state you live in, can charge you anywhere from 10 to 22% estate taxes. I say, so if you have $10 million, that's $1 million to 2.2 million bucks. Now, your family can pay that out of their pocket, or you can make sure you're building up a large enough life insurance policy over time that you just let the government get that money because it's tax-free. So that way they don't have to come out of pocket $1 million or 2 million bucks when you pass down your estate, because you're building wealth to pass it down to them, right? Of course. Well, doesn't it make sense to take a few bucks secure a large enough policy so the future wealth of your family isn't affected, like that has got to make sense. If not, please tell me what does. Pay your own $2 million, or let the government pay the $2 million for you, or let the insurance company pay the $2 million for you. Which one do you think is better? And obviously that makes dumb sense, right? So these are just some different things and some different ways that you can navigate and go through talking to clients, y'all, and deal with those different things. Because remember, the more questions that you ask, the clearer the close becomes, because you start directing it towards a particular direction. And then when people have questions or objections, then they bring them up, right? But let's make sure we're doing a good job of asking questions for our clients. So Mike, I'm sure I went about 4 minutes too long. I apologize, but passing it back to you guys. Appreciate you letting me speak this morning.
No, man, you're such a stud. And I love what you said about, pointing out their situation, man. I know when I was recruited, I knew my situation. The guy that recruited me, he was brand new. He didn't have any skills yet, but he offered me the opportunity. But I just knew my situation. I knew that, I wasn't happy where I was. I knew that, if I kept going where I was going, I was never going to be able to provide a great life for my future wife and kids. And I wasn't happy. I had to work 60 hours a week just to make a paycheck, And one of the things I'll say is, and I know you were recruited, working at Subway. One thing I would say is, Kevin, I would ask you same things you were just talking about. I would ask you, are you interested in doing something else? Are you going to work here the rest of your life? And you're going to say, well, no, I'm not going to work here the rest of my life. Or let's just say there's a situation where I was trying to point out the business to you and you're making, $12 to $15 an hour working at Subway. Well, it'd be real quick. Kev, I'd say, listen, watch this. If you showed somebody how to get an extra $200,000 or $300,000 in life insurance coverage for the same money or less premium, that would pay you about $500 in one sale. In your current situation, Kev, you'd have to work over 30 hours to make that kind of money that we can show you how to make in 1 hour, 2 hours of work, right? Was that something you would be interested in? So right there, you basically just pointed out the problem, but you also gave the solution and you pointed out to their current situation. So Kev, you're a stud, bro. I'm very proud of you and you look great this morning. So, hey guys, what I want to do now is, and I apologize. I didn't know that this was $100 person Zoom. That's insane. But that will be fixed. But Maurice Nelson, are you there, my friend? Are you in the Zoom?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Hey, buddy, you're looking good too, as always. And I'm very proud of you for the amazing month you had last month and you're rocking and rolling this month. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing and some of the things that we hit on about exploding a business for us, please?
Absolutely, Coach. Appreciate the honor of speaking. Kevin did such an amazing job, man. That's some good stuff you got there. I'm gonna take some of what Kevin talked about and apply it to my business as well. That's the best part about the hierarchy in the end. And we teach so well. We got so many great leaders, and all you guys got to do is just apply the stuff that these guys are teaching you, and you can have the same similar type of success. But we're talking about keys to exploding your organization, right? You want to see how can you explode your organization. And Mike, I got a few points here that I'm gonna go over to help you guys explode your organizations and what you got to do on a consistent basis, so you can't get to that point where you say, I want to get massive, I want to be big one day. And it's real simple. First thing you got to do, guys, you got to be mentally prepared to go into battle when it comes to this business. You got to be mentally prepared for everything that can come your way, right? You're going to have a lot of stuff that pop up. A lot of things that try to stop you from getting to the success point, right? So you got to make sure you sharpen your mind every single day, right? You're going to have to deal with the no's, Jay. A lot of no's that come your way. You got to deal with people quitting on you. You got to deal with different personalities, right? You got to deal with people giving you false promises. All this stuff, you got to be able to deal with that. And that's probably one of the key factors why people don't explode business or they get big, because they can't handle the mental side of it, right? It's the little things that people can't handle. So every single day, you got to be sharpening your mind in some form of fashion. Let's say self-improvement is key. You got to find something that's going to improve the way you think at all periods of time. If you ask anybody in my team, they always say, man, you're so positive. Why are you so positive all the time? Because I understand that everybody else is negative. I can't be giving you negativity because I'm full of positive, right? And I don't want negativity around me. So I act how I want what I want around me, right? I act how I want what I want to attract around me, right? So I try to be positive so positive things and positive people can be around me, right? But you got to change the way you think at times, right? And you got to get to that point of I can handle whatever's going to come my way, because this is not an easy journey, right? If it was easy, everybody would have a big organization. You know that, right? It's not easy, right? And it's not because of the mental side of it. And once you handle that, once you understand that, hey, look, I can deal with those adversities gonna come my way, that my whole team quitting on me, that people canceling on appointments. You know, we ever go to sleep one day, you fired up, you got 5 appointments booked the next day, then the next morning, Brandon, all 5 of them canceled, right? How you gonna respond to that? That's the type of stuff that makes champions in this business, the way you respond to it, right? Or you just lay down and say, man, forget this business, not for me, right? So it's all about how you respond to things, number one. So be mentally prepared, guys. We talk about building an organization, okay? The second thing I got, guys, you wanna create an environment, or you wanna be an asset to an environment that's already been created, right? And because people, look at this, people wanna be a part of something. People wanna be around an environment they feel comfortable in, they feel like they can win in, they can be a part of something big, and the leader of the organization has a big vision that everybody can see themselves in, right? You want to be a part of that type of organization from some form of fashion, or if that organization is already built, you want to say, what can I add on to this? How can I add on to this organization? How can I help them get to a point where we continue to grow this thing? Because I want to be the reason we go downhill, right? We was recruiting people, Mike. We was recruiting people this month, and we was telling them, look, you just joined the #1 team in the state, so we can't go down. If we go down, it's because you joined the team, right? So we gotta keep it up, man. So you can't come in and slack it, because we #1 right now, right? But you know, just playing with it. But you got to be in a situation. The right people are responding the right way, right? That's what I'm saying. The right people respond the right way. Everybody's not gonna take it the right way, but the right people will. And you gotta say, I want to be an asset to this team. I'm gonna bring something that they didn't have, in order for them to grow bigger and bigger. Yeah, look at We Are Monroe. Why is We Are Monroe so great? So we have a dynamic, and everybody has different roles and personalities, right? Y'all know Don and Pre, what they do, and Derek, what he does, and then my role is kind of a glue to glue everything together, right? If either one of us is missing out that piece, I don't think We Are Monroe is gonna be as big as we are right now, right? Because everybody plays their role, and everybody understands. I know what I add to the table. I know what I can add to the table to make this thing keep going and keep bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So you got to ask yourself, am I being an asset to the environment, right? Or do we not have an environment? Do I need to create one, right? Which one is it, right? And you want to be that asset, okay? The third thing I got, guys, and this is key, and because we're going to Fast Start School, and this is really how I really built my organization. We was doing a co-op with Jake. We used to have Super Saturdays every Saturday. My thing was pushing attendance. I would push people to these big events every single time. I would sell out to these big events, right? I sell out to big events. I sell out to trainings. I make sure all my people on these calls, because I understand people got to hear from people other than me, right? I'm not the biggest leader in the business, right? I'm not the highest income earner in the business, right? And I'm not the best speaker in the, it's a lot of things that I'm not, right? But it's a lot of people in this business that are, and all I got to do is expose my people to it. And for me to expose them to it, I got to get them in the room, right? I got to get them around these big leaders. I got to get them on trainings every Wednesday. We do trainings every day. Every day I get them on trainings. I got to get them to these Fast Start schools, right? I got to get them to Super Saturdays. Any event, conventions, any event that I know there's gonna be some other leaders there, I got to push my team to those events. You guys got to be able to do the same thing, right? This is the worst thing you could do, is go to events by yourself and not bring anybody, and then try to come back home and tell everything that you learned. That's a tough thing to do, right, Kyle? There's nothing like actually being inside their room and they feeling the same thing that you feel. Because a lot of us are already sold out to the business, right? A lot of us, you don't need another event for you to go out and write a policy or recruit. You don't need nothing else, right? But you need that to order to grow your business, right? And you can't be coming by yourself. You got to bring people with you, right? You got to have people showing up with you, and it got to be somebody different every single time, right? And that's how you explode this organization like no other, guys. You got to push attendance. Like, you think about not coming to Fast Start School right now, you already left behind. I'm telling you now, you're already going to be left behind, right? And you're not thinking about bringing at least 3 people, at least 3 new people with you, each individual person, to bring at least three new people with them, right? It's 100 people on this call, it's 300 minimum, right? That was just based off the people on this call, right? If we're not doing that, then we're not positioning ourselves to explode in the summertime, right? It's going to be a different level of leaders popping up in the summertime. And you got to say, hey, look, I want some of that too, right? 2 more and I'll be done. You got to focus, and this is and I always talk about this. Every time you hear me speak, I always talk about this. My biggest focus is duplication. You gotta make sure everything you do is to teach somebody else how to do. I don't do training appointments. I don't do appointments unless I'm training somebody else, right? I don't do personal individual appointments by myself. I know how to do this business. I'm not trying to be a salesman or just an individual recruiter. I'm trying to build an organization. So every time I do an appointment, Mike, somebody's beside me or they on the Zoom with me because they need to learn how this thing goes. Right. I don't do wasted appointments. I call it wasted appointments. I'm not trying to get quick money. I'm not trying to do none of that. Right. I'm trying to build an organization that's going to sustain for a long period of time. Because I want to be here for a long time, Mike. And I know the only way for me to do that is I got to teach somebody how to do what I'm able to do. Right. And I can't be having these fantastic appointments and nobody sees it. Right. I can't be closing at a high rate and nobody sees it. Right. That's pointless. Right. It's cool. It's cool. You want to make money. I understand that. You got to do that from the beginning. I get it. Right. But if you really want to get big, man, you got to teach people. Right, this business is designed for you to duplicate yourself into other people, right? It ain't for you to just do it yourself. You're temporary for that, but for you to duplicate yourself with other people, you got to teach them, right? Anytime I speak, I have somebody beside me or somebody listening that they can learn as well, right? I got to do a call tonight for another leader in the hierarchy, right? I'll have somebody on my team with me so they can understand how to do calls just like me, right? It's always a teaching moment. Everything is a teaching moment in this business. You got to treat it that way. You got to focus. You got to really focus on duplicating yourself so you can have an organization that grows. Because look, if I'm the only one talking about attendance, and sometimes, it comes white noise and people, they stop listening to me, right? But I got all my other leaders, they talk about attendance. Now you got people duplicating what you're saying, and now it grows at a much faster rate. Now it's growing by what they call multiplication, not addition, right? And the last thing is this. I'm getting fired up now. Last thing is this. You gotta be consistent in everything that you do. All the stuff I talked about, you got to be consistent with. And I want to talk about this in my speech in Fast Start School, but what most people fail to do is they fail to endure long enough. That's the number one thing people fail to do, right? They go on a 10-day streak and they're not where they want to be at, so they feel like it don't work, right? Or they do it for 30 days and they say, man, I'm not where I want to be at, so they stop doing what they was doing, right? This is a consistent business. You got to consistently do the right things. You got to consistently do attend events, show up, be a part of the environment, continue to self-improve. You got to continue to stay focused on what you need to focus on every single day until the job is done, right? And Bill Withers said the job's not done until you're wealthy, right? So you got to continue to do that on a consistent basis every single day. And people stop too early. That's why people don't win, because they stop too early. They get to a point where they have a little success, and then they quit because of adversity hit them. Right? For whatever reason, that's what happens. I see it happen so many times. People say, well, I did try. I tried for 30 days. It just didn't go my way. So why'd you stop? Right? It probably took you 45 days. Right? I was telling my team the other day, look, I was on a 90-day run for Go RVP. That was my mentality. And I was focused on doing it for 90 days. But Kevin, it only took me 45 days, right? To get everything I needed done. But I was committed to doing 90, right? And you got to commit to doing that until you get to where you want to be at. Don't stop too early, guys. I'm telling you, don't quit too early. And that's where the ship crumbles at and the ship sails, because you stop too early, right? You probably know all the skill set and what to do, right? You be on these trainings, you know how to close, you know how to recruit. Kevin just put on the clinic with the verbiage and all this stuff. Now, y'all not as charismatic as Kevin is, but you still can take some of that stuff, right? Take Kevin Luther King. That's what he look like today, like Martin Luther King. You sharp though, man. But you may not be as charismatic as him, but you can figure out your way and your personality and add those things for you to be successful as well. But you got to consistently do it. How do you get better at anything, right? How do you get better at anything is by doing it over and over again. Think about when you was kids. I'm about to pass it to you, Mike. Think about when you was kids, right? Think about when you was kids. First, we had to learn how to crawl. That was the first thing we had to do, right? We consistently started crawling when we were kids. Then all of a sudden, your parents try to make you walk. They're trying to pick you up and make you walk, right? Now you walking every time, but you keep falling. Just imagine if you just stop trying to walk. You never, because you kept falling, so you just stop. Just imagine what you'd be doing right now. Everybody been around crawling right now because we don't know how to walk. But we consistently kept trying, right? We consistently kept trying. Now we're all walking, right? It's the same thing in business. You want to get better at something, you got to consistently do it over and over and over again until you master it, right? And that's how the thing goes, man. Mike, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. I'm gonna pass it back to you.
No, Maurice, that was awesome, man. Listen, I have one quick question for you, because I think that you said something that is very important. I think everybody understands. And we talk about duplicating a lot. Obviously, the builders, and y'all do a phenomenal job of duplicating field trainers, duplicating codes, all the different things. But I think also, too, when you talk about duplicating, we got to duplicate people that are mentally tough, right? We got to have people that are persistent and resilient and understand the business. That's a duplication process too. And I wanted to ask you, Maurice, because I know you had some ups and some downs and bounced like a the champ that you are with Derek and Shakura, and obviously the amazing Donald and Brianna. They're helping you. What are some tips that you give people based off your own experiences when maybe it gets a little bit, tough, or maybe you get thinking the wrong way? What do you go to? Like, what are some things, what books, self-improvement, any tips if somebody just needs to go to another level mentally that you would recommend to them?
Yeah, Mike. The number one thing I did was, I surround myself around the right people, right? I was talking about the environment side, right? I couldn't get to a point where I was in this business and I knew people, outside the business wouldn't understand. So I couldn't go to them and say, hey, man, I'm struggling. I'm not making any money. My whole team quit on me. Because they'd have told me, man, I told you this stuff didn't work. That's what they would have told me, right? I told you that business, you shouldn't have quit your job at AT&T. You had a good job. I told you it wasn't gonna work. So I understood that, so I didn't do that, right? I had to get around people who understand what I'm going through. So I always plugged into my leaders, Don and Bree and Derek, right? They always help me get through everything I need to get through. I showed up every day. I tell you about this time all the time. When we first got our office, it was just myself and Don and Bree in this office, and Derek was still in Alexandria. But I would show up every day to the office because they would show up every day to the office, right? I didn't know what they was going through. Come to find out later, they weren't doing very well either, right? But I didn't know what they was going through, and they didn't know what I was going through. But we knew we showed up every day just to get around each other. And we would uplift each other every single day. Not knowing we needed that, but we just do it. It was like, I know these people, they always positive. They never had nothing negative to say. They never complained about the business. They never say, man, I hate this. None of that type of stuff, right? So I stayed around them, and that's what kept me going. It kept me in long enough till I got to a point where I figured this thing out. And I read a book called I Dare You to Change. It's one book that I read. It's called I Dare You to Change, and it really hit me. It's kind of a pastor. Can't remember his name. It's a pastor that wrote this book. It's called I Dare You to Change. It really shows you that people are in a situation where they hate change and they're not really open up to changing, right? They're not really or receptive to realizing who you are, where you are at that particular point of your life. You got to realize where you at. You got to be open to doing something different if you want different outcomes, right? And that's what I kind of got from the book. He said, I dare you to change, because people won't change. They'll sit in a situation where they think everything is everybody else's fault, but they never look themselves in the mirror and say, man, something that I'm not doing right. Yeah, that's his name. That's right. Something I'm not doing right, that I need to fix if I want to get to that point of being successful, right? So if you're in that situation, you're in that slump, get yourself around the right people. That's number one. And figure out what it is about yourself that needs to change. There's always something that needs to change in yourself. We are all where we are today, right? Because what we did 90 days ago, basically was the truth, right? What we did 90 days, the activities, the actions, the business, the everything you did on a daily basis, your habits are the reason why you're in the situation you're in right now. That's the truth. If you don't like it, reevaluate. They say do an autopsy on your last 90 days, figure out what you did, and you want a different outcome, you got to change something, right? Something has to change, right? And I realized that, Mike, once I realized that, and I say, no, it's not nobody else's fault when I'm not winning for my own, and I took responsibility for that, that's when things started to get to a point where we start to have real success, Mike.
Man, that was perfect, man. And you're talking about, maturity and responsibility, right? Understanding, Eric Thomas talks about it all the time. Understanding what your weaknesses are, right? If you want to go to the next level, you understand what your weaknesses are, and then find somebody who's strong in those areas and go emulate what they're doing. Go ask for advice. Most importantly, whenever we get off track on our thinking, the maturity side of it says, okay, this is not where you belong. Go get whatever you need to get back on track. And like you mentioned, the Fast Start School it's that old thing, if you're winning, the meeting needs you. If you're losing, you need the meeting, right? And that's, I cannot tell you. And some people think they're having some success, but not at the level that they could be. And it's recognizing that and taking responsibility for it, man. And I've seen you do a phenomenal job of that. Very, very proud of you, man. Can't wait to hear you speak, man. Wonderful job. Hey, Daniel and Rosina, are you on, guys? I'm seeing these numbers, and I'd like for you to please hit on the same topic of exploding your business. Some of the tips that you are doing, some of the things you're doing to share with the team. Are you there, Daniel?
Yes, sir. Can y'all hear me? Am I coming in clear?
Looking good, pal, and you sound good, man. Share with us what you're doing. I see you exploding. I know you're having an incredible run right now. Tell us what it is that y'all are doing over there.
Well, Mike, thank you for having me on the call, man. It's real simple. We've been getting active. We've been out in the field. Actually, I'm dropping my wife off at one of our recruits, one of her shops. So she's about to go field training. I'm about to get out in the field, look for some fresh directs. Really and truly, I don't have to because we got inventory on inventory, just make some phone calls. But getting a recruit that's excited and getting them out in the field, once they get a recruit, that's where the fun begins. We call that Easy Primerica, and really just establishing a relationship with that first initial recruit. Because, if we're in a warm market, that first initial recruit is going to have a relationship with that recruit's recruit. So just pouring into them, like Maurice was just talking about duplication, pouring into that top recruit, and ensuring that they're relaying the message, that they're have the same energy that you have, because we can't just go through everybody. We just got to touch the people that we can. We're only one person, but if you duplicate the right people, explosions happen. And that's what happened in our base shop. We've been consistent. Maurice just hit on it. Kevin did a great job in the verbiage for closing. And we've just been consistently plugging in these trainings and doing our best to apply this information. But as far as the explosion, we've been consistent. We focused in on what we wanted. We wanted a 40 by 40 last month. We got that. We got that and a little bit more. And we want a 40 by 40 this month. You look at our numbers, we're about a little past 10 by 10. So we're on pace, but just, locking in on what we want, being consistent, getting up every day, going after it, and plugging into these trainings because Kevin and Maurice just gave it to us. All I have to do is apply the information. So if I don't apply the information, that's on me. So every day we wake up and we make a decision to do it or to not do it. And that's all I got for you, Mike. We're making a decision to do it. Team Visionaire, we're doing it.
No, that's great, man. And what it sounds like is you just flat out working. I know, you're following your leaders and you're using the examples around you. Just real quick, I have one question, because I think that a lot of times people, they want to build, but they may not understand the importance of this. Will you explain why you mentioned the relationship with the directs? Why is it so important to hurry up and make that solid relationship with the people that you recruit?
Coach, that's a great question. I was looking at, I was actually reading the Art Williams Way. You won't quit on a friend. You won't quit on a friend. So it's imperative that we build a solid relationship. Don't just get the IBA, but build a solid relationship with that person to ensure that they won't quit on you. So finding out what they like, finding out what their children like to do, whether it's getting them a little ice cream, whether it's, getting a red box and getting them a movie for a day. It could be the most simplest, probably even the most mundane things at times, but identifying that, it's like I have a sixth sense that's always aware. I'm always looking for an avenue where I could build a relationship. Always looking for the avenue.
No, that's good, man. You just said it. And, you're reading the books and, making friends with people. It's really special understanding that, because if you have that type of relationship, we know that, this is going to be a process, right? And it's not always a smooth process. That's why it's so important that you have other people that you can do life with. Some of the things that have happened to me in my life that weren't business related, like my dad passing or my mom passing or whatever it may be, the first person I called was Blake. Some of the other people that I called and talked with them is Derek Simpson and Tyler Craig and Danielle Bennett and some of these people that we've built this business with, but now are basically family. And I think that you can never do enough of that. I know when I was talking to Derek, this gave me an example of how important what we've done with relationship building is. Whenever I was talking to him about he was telling me about something that had happened. He said if something happened in a serious way outside of business, he would call me. And then he started mentioning, and then he'd call Don, and then he'd call Maurice, and then he'd call, the people that he's built this business with. And that just goes to show it's not all business. As a matter of fact, it's much more than that. Because when you have a strong relationship with somebody, you're going to be able to get through the tough times. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, man, because the more people you have relationships with, the more people that can count on you and that you can count on, it's definitely going to go to the next level. And I think that's vital if you're going to be a builder in this business, man. Great job. Very, very proud of you. Can't wait to see you in a few weeks in Baton Rouge. Thank you for sharing, my friend. Hey, Lee Brown, are you there? Are you there, my man? I did not intentionally try to block you out.
Made it.
An accident. There you go. Looking good, buddy. Well, listen, will you share?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. And you look great. I see you just closed. That's why we're asking you to share with us how you close. So take it away.
I mean, you just make a million phone calls, man. You get it done. Now, there's so many different ways to close. I know we were talking about setting appointments and how to close a presentation, how to close sales. But I think in reality, you got to understand that, man, the need is so big. The reality is timing's everything. So that's the first thing you got to commit to. If I put out the activity, I'm gonna make that thing work regardless. I mean, everybody's had appointments where they was literally ready to pull out the debit card to sign up, or they was ready to give you the account information. It was never a problem. And when you get that experience, you're like, man, I got to get this experience as often as I like. So I think the first thing you got to commit to being consistent with activity. And one of the things I was talking to one of my agents, she wanted to get back on, and she said, like, what do I need to do? Like, how do I need to start my schedule? And obviously you do everything with building a list, but if I had to just frame what she needed to do, I said, you need to get on 8 appointments a week, 8 qualified appointments a week. They need to have young children and gainful employment. I said, those are the type, you need to be on 8 of those type of appointments a week, and you're guaranteed to make $1,000. I say they need to have young children and gainful employment. That's how you qualify your appointments, right? And we only got one rule. If there's a significant other, both of them have to be present, no matter what. And so, that's what I told her, because if you go on 8 appointments, if you're average, if you give a basic presentation, which would you say makes sense? What John and Mary before Primerica, or John and Mary after Primerica? And if we can help you, if we can transition you or help you the same way we've been able to help John and Mary, or Bob and Susan, is that something you'd be interested in? So you just ask basic questions. And like, if we can put a plan together like this for you, if we can really make a difference, there's any reason why you guys wouldn't take advantage of it today, right? You just simply ask the questions. And I think, honestly, Mike, between asking the closing questions and can you guys grab your driver's license, I think that's pretty much it. And the moment, guys, if you guys don't know this, the moment they start looking for their driver's license, they committed to the close. That is the number one thing that lets you know somebody's about to buy. They start looking for their driver's license. It's fascinating when you see it. And so, I don't have any wham bam thank you ma'ams when it comes to closing. I do think you need to get your skills up. Some things gonna come in the field when you realize, like, well, why didn't I close this? Or why didn't I close that? You do have to bounce these ideas. Like a lot of the ways that I even overcome objections and how I might paint pictures on how I close, I've created a lot of those different things. And the reason I was able to create that stuff is because I really put myself out there. And if I don't get a close, I have to question why I didn't close a family that needed what I did. Was it bad timing? Did I not ask enough questions? Did I not paint a picture? Did I not tell a good enough story? What did I do to not close? And I think that's important for you guys to take responsibility. So when you do miss a sale, you don't get defeated, right? If you're a champion detective, when you get rejected, you don't get down, you get mad. And when you get mad, you do something about it. And you typically get better in that process. So if there's a specific thing you want me to kind of highlight, Mike, as far as what I overcome or a specific way that I may close, I don't mind answering that question, but that's pretty much what I got.
No, you just said it, man. And I'm glad you closed with that, with the responsibility side of it, because and it goes into what Maurice was talking about. If I always knew this is what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to do Primerica. This is going to be my long-term goal plan. I'm doing that. But at that point, you got to realize that in your current form, you may not be the person that can reach the goals that you need to reach, right? Maybe that's a skill set. Maybe that's leadership. Maybe that's commitment, whatever it may be. But I think you got to be very mature in recognizing that and then take responsibility to fix it. So Lee, let me ask you this. Whenever you do go back and look at, why didn't you close, whether it be an IBA or the sale or whatever it is, what do you do to I mean, do you call somebody? Do you replay it in your head? I mean, what are some things you do to just kind of to think back and try to fix and correct the closes that you miss?
I think the first thing you got to do is you got to identify where did their energy change. That's the first thing you got to ask. You know, I was doing a presentation with a kid named Hunter. He was all for it. And then his energy changed, you know, on the back end of the presentation. And I said, what did I do wrong? I had to go and process that. And sometimes you're like, well, I had to close because they were all excited the entire time. And then all of a sudden they were like, no, we're fine. Like, where did I go wrong? And so one, you got to say, okay, I can't mistake excitement for interest. I can't do that, right? And then number two, I can't sell past the close. And what does that mean? If a person, if the time now is to say, okay, does this make sense to get done? Can we get this? If it makes sense, you can't ramble on how excited you are about Primerica's, you know, different, you know, the benefits. People don't even understand what half the benefits mean. You use the benefits to close them when they're not closed yet. You don't pile on the benefits of Primerica after they're necessary, when they're committed to the close. You got it? So you have to be careful with vomiting on people. So when you do a self-assessment, you know, you'll identify those things. Then what you do is you call somebody like Mike, or you call somebody like Blake, or you call the person that you know is pretty good at the business. Kevin calls me once a week to ask me life insurance questions. Swear to God he does. And he learns something new at least every other time. And so you call him and you run it by, what do you think? And this is what I'm thinking. And so you bounce off that feedback. Does that make sense?
No, that's real good, man. And you just said it. Yeah. Once you get that commitment, hush, right? Get on with closing it up. And then also too, and I don't know if you've ever done this, but I've had situations where I thought for sure this is going to be closed up. This is going to be, you know, a done deal. And at the end of it, they weren't interested. And I've asked them, I said, listen, I'm just curious because I know it's a benefit. I know what we're doing will be a benefit to you. Did I say something wrong, or did I do something wrong to where we can't, you know, and I'll ask them, and then they'll tell me, say, well, no, listen, actually, we're really struggling financially. Okay, well, I totally understand. How about we do a financial analysis? I've had people tell me what was actually going on that they would not have told me if I didn't ask, right? So I don't think you should be afraid to do that, because ultimately sometimes people might be embarrassed. They may know they need our help, but they can't really get it because they're broke. Or they'll say, well, you know, I think Jay McKinney or somebody had a situation the other day where they knew they were fixing to close a sale. Oh, it was Clinton. He knew he was fixing to close a sale. It was going to be a done deal. Everything was going good in the presentation, but found out that the brother wrote the policy and it wasn't going to get switched. She basically agreed that it's a better plan. She needs to switch, but she's not going to do it because it's her brother. Okay, well, that's fine. At least I know that I did a good job and there was really nothing that I could do about that, right? And I think that's important too, is understanding when there's nothing more that you could have done. That way you can move on to the next one. But I think it's important that you check yourself, check what you did, see where you can get better, and then move on.
Let me add this too, Mike. Because I want to add this, because this, I guess, will be a respectable objection. I said, number one, so let's say somebody do sell, let's say Mike, okay, so Mike, you my brother, right? You sold me something and I have another person that comes and sells me something and it's really light and years better than what I have. Well, how would I overcome that? I say, let me be real with you. When you love someone, when you care about somebody, you want the best for them, no matter what, whether or not you benefit. So in reality, if your brother wants the best for you and this plan is superior than his plan is, in reality, if he truly cares about your best interest at heart, which plan would your brother want you to take? Right? Which one would he want you to take? Right? And so one of the things that we have to get better at is we got to get better at two things. One, being audacious. You know, why are we not, you know, you come back on the carryback, some of you guys know they're not taking the policy. Like you ask them, well, hey guys, why are we not taking this policy? I'm confused because I'm finna assume you want what's best for your family. I'm literally about to assume you like making good choices. There's not a choice, Mike, I've seen you make. You live in a beautiful home. You have a great career. You have I see how your children operate around you. That tells me you're not a different person when I leave. You spend your entire life making good choices, and all of a sudden I'm supposed to believe you're not gonna make a good one today? Make that make sense to me, Mike. I've done this, and I will stare in the camera until they respond. That makes sense. So today, you all of a sudden are conveniently not making a good choice because you agree this is a better choice, right? See, while I'm doing this, Mike, I'm putting it all on you. I already don't have the clothes. Now, I'm not rude, but I'm not about to just leave this thing up to happenstance. When this recruit gets off of this training appointment, they're going to know you crazy, not me. They're going to think Primerica's the cat's meow. They're going to know for a fact that, oh, nah, my uncle, my daddy, he retarded. Because what I saw was a clinic, and I knew it was best for them. My daddy agreed to it, but they just decided not to make a good decision. And we understand life works that way. So that's kind of how I would handle something like that.
That's real good, Lee. And what you're basically saying is you're leveling with these people in a way that makes sense. And there's respect in that, man. And that just means that we know it's 8531. We know there's going to be situations where, you know, they're not going to do business. They never were going to do business, but you had you did everything right. And laying it all out on the line is the way to do that. And I think that you can leave there knowing that you gave it everything you've got and you just got to move on. And I think that's very important to know as a new agent or somebody who doesn't understand that. And one other thing I'll say before I bring Donald and Bree up to close us out, Dick Hicks told me one time with that same objection. He said, listen, I understand your brother wrote the policy. Why don't you just do my policy and we'll make him the beneficiary if you care about what he thinks so much. So I don't know if that worked, but I thought that was cute that Dick did that. So I don't know if you should use that, though. That was like 20 years ago. Great job, Lee. Well, listen, Don, Bree, I asked Donald and Brianna to go over obviously anything that they want, but they're number one in the state in coding right now. They get more licenses than anybody else. And I know there's nobody on this call that couldn't benefit from getting more licenses like they are getting, right? So I wanted them to share some of the tips that they are having to explode their licenses and explode their business. So Don, Bree, are you guys there?
We're here, Coach. Can you hear us?
I can. Y'all look great. Y'all light it up.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Look, real quick, we do have to say, we were number one in the state last month, and then Daniel and Rowe came and passed us up at the last second. So they actually got the number one last month. But we've been trying to be consistent with those licensing numbers. We had to pick it up a lot. I remember actually like in around January sometime, our numbers had dipped for a moment, but we had to start spending a lot of attention or paying a lot of attention to that area to get it back corrected. And if I'm honest, for Don and I right now, we have utilized, I think I talked before about the actual position of the licensing specialist, somebody that's paying very close attention to the process of what happens with the new recruit when they come in, to them getting into class, to them getting a test date, and then also appointed. And so I used to be the person doing that, and now we have somebody else that's assisting it as well. But that position, that's my first recommendation, guys, is having somebody, whether it's you doing it for your own base shop, your own team, that's just paying attention to what happens to every single recruit when they come in. Because a lot of times people just get lost. They get recruited, they don't know what the next steps are, they're not sure what they're supposed to be doing. And having somebody that's able to say, look, I'm going to be walking you through from you signed your IBA yesterday, today, getting in contact with them within like 24 hours or so, 24, 48 hours, and just saying, hey, I'm gonna help you through this process. Your next step on the licensing end is getting into a licensing class. And I will share the screen and show some of the little flyers that we put together, that our licensing specialist puts together. But she's constantly reminding them of when the next up and coming classes are. Hey, there's a licensing class this weekend, next week. If anybody needs to get in, let me know. I'll make sure you get registered. Right now, we got like 40 people that are actively studying online as well, because everybody can't make the in-person classes. But having a system in place that walks your person from IBA to them getting appointed has helped us out a lot, because, they don't give you credit on POL for a code until that sucker is appointed. It doesn't matter if they passed it 3 weeks ago, until a Primerica appoints them, you don't get credit for it. But making sure that somebody is helping them understand the next steps within, like I say, 24 to 48 hours, walking them through the licensing process. And then something that we had to tweak as well is that licensing specialist utilizing the leaders of the new agents for accountability. So what I mean by that is, okay, if I got 3 of your people registered for the next class or registered online, or, hey, you're a division and I got your brand new agent going to class, I'm going to utilize you now to help me make sure that this person shows up to the class, make sure that you're checking in to see if they're finishing their quizzes, So they're getting the accountability from both angles, from the licensing specialist, but also from an agent that's going to be training them in the business. And the mindset behind it is, from the licensing end, they're making licensing seem like it's the first priority, right? From the training end, their field trainer that's in the field with that brand new agent is making field training and getting on appointments seem like the first priority. So the agents should actively be doing both things. They should be getting into a class, doing some form of studying, knowing that they need to knock that out as soon as possible, but also be in the field on appointments, focusing on a bonus. We utilize the field training bonuses a lot in setting examples of, hey, you're not just studying for no reason, right? There's a purpose behind you studying to get this license. And your field trainer should also have you on appointments while you're out in the field to build a bonus. I'm gonna help you get the license so that when you have that license, you get your bonus. So it comes full circle. But the process has helped us out a lot of just walking them through it, keeping things organized, knowing how many, okay, if we got 20 new agents recruited this week, how many of them are registered for some form of a class, online or in person? And then out of those people, how many showed up? And then out of those people, okay, as soon as you finish class, let's go ahead and pick a test date. That's big too. You get them finished with the class, go ahead and set a test date. Even if it's like a week out, week and a half, say, look, you got 7 days, you got 14 days, and you're gonna take this test, but do some extra studying. If you need help, let us know, but go in and try. That's the biggest thing, is getting people to go try on the test and use the knowledge that they've gained through the class and the online course as well, and just expediting it as quickly as possible. It's, the same way we talk about recruiting being a numbers game, it's the same thing with codes. Every recruit that you get in, they go into that funnel of licensing, and you're gonna have codes that pop out. And for the people that don't make it on the first try, you're automatically saying, hey, go home, do a guaranteed, we're gonna get you re-registered, set a new test date. And tracking those people has helped us out a lot, but it's the process, it's the licensing specialist position that has helped out tremendously, and actively focusing on that as a big part of the business, just like we do premium and recruits.
Absolutely, guys. And I'm going to jump in and talk about booking appointments. I think that that's a crucial skill when it comes to being able to build your business. And first off, when I talk about booking appointments, man, Brianna did just an incredible job. And so many people on the call, you guys all crushed it today. I was tuned in, KLK crushed it, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Luther King, he went off today, man. But everybody else went off, Maurice did a phenomenal job. Lee, Mike, obviously, leading us this entire hierarchy and the stories that we have from you. But so when it comes to booking appointments, guys, you truly can't say you're going to be successful long-term in Primerica if you're not seeing tons of appointments, right? I don't try to predict what's going to happen on an appointment the same way I wouldn't try to predict the stock market. The same way we wouldn't try to, as much as you would like to believe, like I was really, really big on Canelo the last weekend, right? And obviously you guys know, if you're a boxing fan, what happened to Canelo, right? If you do not have the fight, you don't know what's going to happen, okay? And so even before somebody gets in the ring, you can be a heavy favorite, but you don't know until you book the appointment. And so people that are masters at setting appointments become masters at Primerica as a whole, and when you don't master, how do I get on an appointment? Eventually, that becomes the Achilles heel in your business, and you're no longer able to create momentum from nothing because you didn't learn the foundational principle, which is numero uno. Before you even learn how to do your presentation, you need to learn how to book an appointment. How do I get somebody to sit down with me? So this is what I'm going to go over, guys. I have 3 main ways that I book appointments, okay? I'm either booking appointments for a trainee, right? I'm booking an appointment for a trainee. Somebody needs training. They trust you to give them 30 to 45 minutes of valuable opinions about their future career. Are you okay with that? All right, will you give them your valuable opinion? Why is my opinion valuable? Because they look up to you, right? In some way, shape, or form, you've made an impact on them, whether you're a coworker, a boss, mom, dad, cousin, or friend, right? They value your opinion. We just need 30 to 40 minutes of your opinion. Is that okay? Right? The second way that I book appointments is for a recruit that was like from a referral. Okay. So basically, either a recruit that was referred to me or a macho champ list that I got. Right. And from that referral, I stick to specifically why I want to sit down with them instead of anybody else. Right. So if they are married, I'm talking about them being one of the best married couples that this person knew. Your name came up immediately when he thought about marriage. I don't know what example you guys provide in marriage, but it's just incredible that he said that. You know, I'm buttering that, right? That's going to be the butter of that conversation. I need 30 minutes of time to show you how I can put your marriage in a better financial situation. Notice I said marriage in a better financial situation. If they got children, I'm gonna be like, man, you know, they said, you know, you have children, you must really care about your kids. That is the whole purpose of, I'm not going into life insurance, investments, annuities, this, that, primary, none of that. Your kids need to see a better financial solution. If you could put them in a better position, is that something you'd be interested in hearing 30 minutes about? 30 to 45 minutes. Are you okay with that? If you're a homeowner, we're going to talk about the home. How close are you to paying it off? This, that, and the other, right? And hey, there may be something you can do to accelerate your income and help you pay off your home faster or do any renovations or anything like that. But I want to show you a business opportunity that possibly put you in a better situation. Full-time occupation. We're going to talk about the job. How hard working on your job? Are you satisfied with the job? Are you this, that, and the other? And all I want them to do is I want them to say, you know what? If there was an opportunity that could pay you what your job is not paying you, would you want to know about it? I mean, of course I would. I mean, who wouldn't want to know more? I just need 30 to 45 minutes of your time to sit down with you to tell you all the money involved and exactly what's required of you to win. All the money involved, exactly what's required of you to win. That's how I do the occupation, guys. And so when it comes to champ list, oh man, that's easy peasy. That's lemon squeezy for real, because they're either competitive, they're hardworking, they're ambitious, they're money motivated, they're people skills. And I just drive home, hey, Brianna just told me that you're the most ambitious person that she knows. Is that true? Yeah, well, where did the dream come from? Were you always a dreamer? Were you always this ambitious? They'll say, yeah, I did because of my grandma, because of my cousin, I'm getting that buy-in. I say, look, I only want to work with the best people in the community in financial services. That's kind of how it works, right? Because you know how to get a nursing degree, right? You know how to become a nurse, right? You know how to become a lawyer. Could you tell me how to get licensed in finances? You know how to get a driver's license. You know how to get all these other licenses. How do you get a license in finance? Somebody has to recommend you, and somebody recommended you. We only work with the best. Do you have 30 to 45 minutes today or tomorrow to talk about how your competitive nature, how your hardworking nature, how your ambitious nature, how your money motivated, nature, how your people skills nature can make you see how we just doing the same thing, guys. But guess what? I've seen I kid you not, in the 3 years I've been here, I've probably seen somewhere around 6,000 presentations. I've been on 6,000 appointments. So when you ask me, why am I unnerved about somebody's objection? It does not. I've seen 6,000 people get approached with this question. I've seen 6,000 people get approached with the 124. I've seen 6,000 people decide between $500,000 and $250,000. I've seen 6,000 people, and I've never once, in no appointment, have I seen where whole life was better. I've seen that they waited too late and they were too sick. I've seen that they didn't have money, so that they could not afford the 124. I've seen that the policy that they had, they were 85 years old and we couldn't cover them, so they had to stay with whole life. I've never seen somebody that could be insured that was in a decent age range, underneath 70 years old, where whole life insurance was better than buy term investor difference in all 6,000. And I've never seen an opportunity in this world that they had that the 124 with us wasn't better than what they were already currently doing. I have never seen a business opportunity beat us out. And that's probably because I ain't met LeBron James yet, and I ain't seen NBA money. Maybe I ain't met NFL. I ain't met Tom Brady yet, so I ain't seen what it's like to be the quarterback of the top of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I guarantee you, that's 1 in a million people that's making that type of income. But majority of the 6,000 people you sit down with, they're not going to be LeBron. They're not going to be Tom Brady. They don't have anybody that's possibly even remotely even thinking about paying them $1 million a year. But you need to be on appointments. That is the key to this business. Set appointments, get the same conviction level that I have, because I didn't seen enough to be convicted. You ain't seen enough to be convicted. You ain't going on enough appointments to be fully persuaded, right? You ain't seen enough people, you know how, man, I gotta take it spiritual right here, and I'm gonna end with this, because it's my favorite guy in all of the Bible. It's my favorite guy. Paul the Apostle, right? He gets to the end of his life, and he said, I am fully persuaded that neither death nor life, right? So, see, I done seen so many people saved, right? I done see that death nor life, evil, good, this life, the past, sin, untold, nothing can separate you from the love of God. I've seen demons possess people. I've seen all this I've seen the worst of the worst get saved. I've seen the best of the best get saved. I've seen the rich, the poor. Nothing can separate you from the love of God. And I truly believe that nothing can separate somebody from financial independence except their own mindset. There's nothing standing in their way from them booking appointments. There's nothing standing in their way from them being successful in Primerica except them hearing the opportunity. They got to hear the opportunity, so that means you need to set an appointment, and they need to make an honest decision with where they are in life and say, hey, I need a term life insurance policy. I need a mutual fund. I need to book more appointments. I need to get in a position. I need to spend this 124 so that I can make $400,000 or $500,000 a year. Guys, I'm done. I'm fired up. I appreciate you, Mike, for allowing me to close. That's 11:12. That means we need to be on appointments. We done ran over. So if you in your office or you was like, man, what am I going to do today? Set appointments and go to work, man. I'll see you guys at the top.
Don, Bree, thank you so much, man. And we're going to close out. You two, it's special because you have a system for your licensing and you have a system for your setting appointments. They're both very, very simple, but you're obsessed, and it's all backed by a ridiculous work ethic. And it's just something that's very, very special. And we appreciate it very, very much. Bree, I am going to call you to find out more about the licensing specialist to figure out that process. And if you don't mind posting some of the flyers that you mentioned in the group, that would definitely be appreciated. So, hey, guys, we're going to wrap up. I really do appreciate your patience with this, the Zoom this morning. That will get fixed. But in the meantime, we have Sunday night. We will pick up the recognition where we didn't get to today. And lastly, don't stop inviting for the Fast Start School. Okay. I mean, become obsessed with your attendance for the Fast Start School. Book more rooms, get more carpooling going, talk about it every day. Attention is key. And we will see you guys Sunday night in the recognition Zoom. Let's have a big week. Thank y'all.